boys and girls, Miss Witt and I are going to talk to you today about our TEK. It's called 4.4b, and it is multiplying by tens and hundreds. And so that's what our lesson is today. Okay, let's start off with something easy. And if you're at home, please write this down on a piece of paper. In the classroom, we're going to write this down together. So if we have 3 times 1, we know 3 times 1 is 3, right? Okay, let's look at 3 times 10. What is 3 times 10? Okay, if you said 30, you are correct. And then the last one is 3 times 100. Think about that one. Okay, if you said 300, you are correct. Now I want you to think about this question. Can you come up with a pattern rule in order for this multiplication? What happened when you multiplied by 1, by tens, and by 100? Think about that. Pause the video and think. Okay, if you said that you're adding the same amount of zeros as you're multiplying by, you are exactly right. This has to do with place value and moving across the place value chart. And so we're going to talk about that today, how simple it is to multiply by tens and 100. Okay, let's look at this and let's have some practice. So, I know 10 times 1 is 10. Well, 10 times 10, well, we just talked about that, and if you're adding the same amount of zeros as what you're multiplying by, wouldn't that be 100? And if we're multiplying 10 times 100, well, I know I'm multiplying 1 times 1. Wouldn't I be adding the same amount of zeros? So look what it did. 1 times 10 gave me 10. 10 times 10 gave me 100. 10 times 100 gave me 1,000. What about this next column over here? Let's see what happens over here. If I have 20 times 1, you're right, it's 20. Well, let's think about that rule. 20 times 10, well, I know 2 times 1 is 2, and there are 2 zeros, so 20 times 10, 200, and 20 times 100, well, again, I know 1 times 2 is 2, and this time there are 3 zeros, so it looks like 20 times 10 is 2,000. Let's look at how many zeros are on each side of the equation. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think you're starting to see a pattern. Okay, the same thing with this practice. Now, I want you to copy these down on your own, and I want you to think about it, and let's talk about this for a few minutes. Okay, again, the simple one, 5 times 1 is 5, right? The next one is 5 times 10. Well, I know 5 times 1 is 5, and then I'm going to add that 0 that represents the 10, and that takes the 5 out of the 1's place, and it bumps it into the 10's place. Well, let's look at this one. We've got 5 times 100. Well, I know again 5 times 1 is 5, and if I bring both of those zeros over, then that means that 5 moved over 2 places on the place value chart, and it landed it in the hundreds place. Okay, well, let's look at this one now. Ooh, this one's a little more challenging because we're not multiplying by just 1 digit by 1 digit. We are multiplying by a 2-digit number. So 36 times 1. Okay, remember, any number times 1 is that number. So 36 times 1 is 36. Okay, now think about that again. 36 times 1 is 36, but I didn't multiply it by 1. I multiplied it by 10, so I'm going to put that 0 there. Now, again, 36 times 100, well, I'm going to think in my head, 36 times 1 is 36, and this time I multiplied it by 100, which means I'm going to move it 2 places over on the place value chart, which we'll talk about more later, and that makes 3,600. Okay, this is so simple. You are going to love this. Okay, multiply by tens and ones. You multiply by 1 and you add a 0 or 2 zeros depending on what you're multiplying by. Look what they did here. They said, okay, we've got 345 and we are going to multiply it by 10. I'm going to rewrite it so you can see what they did. Okay, they took the whole number 345 and they rewrote it. And then they took the 1 0 from times 10 and they added it and it made it 3,450. And if you put 345 in a place value chart and you move it one place over to the left, it will jump into the thousands place and your number becomes 3,450. Let's look at this next one. Again, let's do the same thing. They took 345 and they multiplied it by 100. Okay, so they're going to take that whole 345 and they're going to rewrite it. And then they're going to add the 2 zeros to the back of it. And go make sure you put your commas in the correct places. And now 345 multiplied by 100 gives you 34,500. And if you look and you put 345 on in the place value chart and you move it over 2 places like you're multiplying by 100, it's going to drop into the 10,000s place. So let's do a little practice. Okay, let's copy this down. So let's look at this first one. We've got 54 times 10. So I'm going to bring 54 over, and I'm going to bring the 1 0 from the 10. So 54 times 10 gives you 540. Guys, this is kind of like a mental math where you can do this in your head. Let's look at this next one. Ooh, this is a bigger one. I'm going to bring the whole 1,674. But I am not going to put the comma in there yet because I don't know what my answer is going to look like until I put all the zeros in there. I'm going to multiply it by 10, so I'm going to bring my 0 over from the 10. Now I'm going to go back in and put my commas. And 1,674 times 10 is 16,740. Again, think about your place value chart. One place over to the left goes into the 10,000s place. Oh, they went to bigger numbers this time. Let's look at this one. So I'm going to take the whole 789 and I'm going to take both of the zeros from 100. So if you have 789 and you multiply it by 100, go back and put your comma in, it makes it 78,900. I hope you're starting to see the pattern that's going on with this. And the last one, I'm going to bring over 9, 6, 5, 4. Again, remember, do not bring over the commas yet. And then I'm going to bring over both zeros. Now I'm going to go back and put the commas in. And 9,654 times 100 gives me 965,400. What do you think? I bet you're getting this. Let's go on. Okay.
Hello, we are actually going to learn how to use the distributive property to solve these problems. Now you're thinking, what is distributive property? Well, distributive means just the word distribute means if I distribute bear paws to each one of you. I'm going to give one to you, and I'm going to distribute one to another student, and another student, and another student. That is distributing. That is giving to each person the same, a bear paw to each person. So here's how we're going to look at it, because you're going to see this in our work in the that we're going to do. We're going to solve 124 times 10. And we're going to put the answer in expanded form times 10, and then we're going to distribute by distributing that 10. So the first thing we're going to look at is, let's just solve this, just like Miss Fuller had shown us to do. So sometimes, and I'm going to just box that in because that's really what you did first. You took 124 times 1, and you get 124, and then we carried over that 0. So I know that's the answer that I'm going to be looking for. Now, to do the distributive property, all you have to know is how to put this in expanded form and then distribute. So what we're going to do, I'm going to write the problem here, is I'm going to put this number in expanded form. If I put this in expanded form, and you guys remember expand means making it bigger, then this is 100 plus 20 plus 4. And we're going to put that in parentheses, and we're going to multiply that by 10. Now here, just like I distributed the bear paws, the 10 is what we're going to distribute, okay? So then when I rewrite this, I'm going to distribute this 10 to each one of these numbers. So the next step is, so here's the first step, here's that second step. I'm going to take 100, and I'm going to give it a 10. So times 10, okay? And I'm going to put that in parentheses, plus, now I've got my 20, and I'm going to give it a 10. I don't want to leave any individual number out. Then I'm going to take a 4 plus, and I'm going to give it a 10. So all three of my plate numbers here each got a 10. So then that's 4. And I'm going to give it a times 10. Now, all we do is we solve, okay? We're going to solve. So I'm going to pull this up so we can see a little bit lower down here because Mrs. Witt got down here really low. Okay, so now we know how to do this. Same thing, we're just multiplying by 10. And I'll just do this first one right here. 100, bring down that 0, plus 20 times that 1 is 20 plus that 0. I'm sorry, plus that 0. I put a plus sign instead of putting that 0 there. So now bring that 4 down. 4 times 1 is 4. Add that 0. Now I can add this up. If we add this up, and I know since this is 1 is in the thousands place, the 2 is in the hundreds place, and the 4 is in the tens place, and it's a 4D. Did we end up with the same answer that we started with? All we're showing you is that this is why we can just add that 0, because we're just distributing it to each individual one of these. And then up here, we're just multiplying it and adding that 0. This is just breaking it down so you see why we're doing what we're doing. Okay? We're going to do one more, and I'm going to skip that one, and we're going to do one more, and this one we're going to distribute by 100. So let's just see what the answer is first, because I like to do that to make sure that my total answer ends up correct. So I'm going to multiply 467 times 1, I get 467. And then how many zeros are we bringing over? 2. Oh my gosh, that's a big number. 46,700. Now let's see if we can do it using the distributive property. And you'll see on the worksheets it'll have the steps for you. So the first step is we're going to take our 467, and we're going to put that in expanded form. So that's going to be, and I already know you know how to do it, 400 plus 60 plus 7. Okay? And I'm just going to kind of keep that number together. That's why we put it in parentheses. And we're going to multiply that entire number, because that number is the same as 467 times 100. Now, what are we going to distribute? I bet you got it. You're right. We're going to distribute that 100. Every number gets 100. Every number. So let's do that. On step 2, we distribute now. Ooh, that's a big word. They say that a lot in like 8th grade. 400 is going to get 100. So times 100 plus 60 50, and it's going to get a 100. So I'm going to multiply that by 100, and I'm going to keep that kind of together. It helps my eyes keep everything separate. And now I have a 7. And the 7, I can't leave it out. It's going to get a 100. Now the last step is just do what's inside here. And we know that you take this number times 1, and we get 400. And since we're multiplying by 100, we got to add the 2 zeros. Woo, big number there. Plus, so that's 40,000 plus 60 times 1 is 60, bringing down my 2 zeros from my 100. 6,000 plus 7 times 100. Most of you know that already is 700. Now we're going to, the last step is add all of this together. And it is okay if we need to come out to the side and put them 2 numbers at a time. Oops, it's 40,000. See, Mrs. Witt wasn't paying attention here. 40,000 plus 6,000 is going to give me 4,600 plus 700. 0, 0, 7 and 0 is, or 7 and 6 is 13. Carry the 1, and we get, did I mess up? Mrs. Witt messed up. 4600. Oh!
Third step, 4,600 instead of 46,000 when you add
Oh, 4,600 in the third step
on the side, on your side.
over here.
Where you're adding right there, you put 40,000, 6,000, and then you added it together and make it 46,000.
See, even the best of us get tired. So this is 40,000. Oh, and I put it in the wrong place, huh? 6,000 is right here. There we go. And so then I get 46,000. This is why I have you use the graph paper when you do this and not the smart board. But this is good to know because you got to know that teachers are not perfect, especially this one. But we learn from our mistakes. 46,700, and that's why I knew I did something wrong, because I knew that the correct answer should have been up here. So step 4 is 46,700. You are welcome to rewind this video and watch Miss Witt mess up over and over again, but learn how to do the distributive property. And enjoy this video, and we will be seeing you knowing how to multiply by tens and hundreds, even using the distributive property.